what's up, folks? Welcome back to another 3D Hangouts. My name is Noah Ruiz. I'm a designer here at Adafruit. Joining me every week is my brother Pedro with a Blinker shirt.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pedro, Creative Tech here at Adafruit, and every week we're here to share 3D printed projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
Yeah, that's right. This year we combine 3D printing and DIY electronics to make inspirational projects. Hello, everybody hanging out in the Discord chat room and in the live tunnel. We're going to take a moment to welcome everybody in the show. If you'd like to join us while we're doing the show live,
come on over to discord.gg/Adafruit. We're also hanging out in all of the streaming channels like YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook, LinkedIn. Come on, stop by, say hi. Giving shout outs to everybody hanging out in all of the chat rooms. We got Liz, Blitz City DIY.
Hello.
Got Andy Calloway, Jim Hendrickson, Rosin. Got Rolves, Redo Strike, Charles Benaford, Unheard Grace. Sorry, going through all these. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody hanging out all over the world. Good morning, King North and Bill Strutz.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, we got a really fun show this week. We have 2 projects to catch up on. We have some prototyping, a little bit of shop talk, some community makes, and of course some time lapses and all that on, you guessed it, 3D Hangout. So I'm going to run through some of the housekeeping stuff in the morning as we pay some of these bills. And you can help us do so by ordering more stuff at Adafruit. You'll get some freebies. We have 3 tiers of 3B stuff going on, so let me walk through them real quick. If you spend $99 or more, you'll get a free half-size Perma Proto breadboard PCB. It gets automatically added to your cart. And for orders that are $149 or more, you'll get that half-size Perma Proto PCB plus a randomly selected Stemma QT breakout board. If you have a registered account with Adafruit, we'll make sure you don't get the same one twice. For orders that are $200 or more, you'll get that Stemma QT breakout, the half-size Perma Proto, and free ground shipping for UPS in the continental US only. So check out adafruit.com/free for all of the deets. Heading on over to the jobs board at jobs.adafruit.com. You can see all the latest job listings that are out there. I'm seeing some new ones here. We have a freelance gig in the New York area for some chained LED panels for theater super titles. I'm also seeing a lead hacker position at the Hack Club in Burlington, Vermont. And that's a full-time position. So if you are in the market for a gig or an employer looking for some maker help, you can post up your resume or offer job thing at jobs.adafruit.com. It's free to do so. Okay, we're gonna go to the newsletter. Every week, once a week, there is a newsletter from Adafruit that's focused on products. This week is a newsletter focused on products.
Hey, how did we get in there?
Hi, we're inside the retro computer. It's springtime and lots of spring flavored products are getting added. So if you want to be the first to know about what new products get added on the weekly, you can subscribe to the newsletter at adafruit.com/newsletter. Look at Adabot with his hat backwards. So hip. Even Blinker has a hat on. They all have hats on. The LEDs have LEDs because it rains during the summer.
They should have the umbrellas on.
Yeah, the umbrella hats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Hans does not have a hat on. Doesn't want one. We also have another newsletter. It's a daily newsletter, and that's a separate website. Go to adafruitdaily.com to see all the different categories of funness, such as Python on microcontrollers, 3D printing, biohacking, maker business, and more. Shout out to everybody who subscribed to the Python on microcontrollers newsletter, and shout out to Ann Barella for making it happen. And everybody for submitting your stories. You can also do so by hitting up Ann on the Discord to get your stories featured on the weekly Python on microcontrollers newsletter. Give a huge shout out to Paul Cutler for doing the Circuit Python Show podcast. It's coming back, and we are anticipating the next season of the Circuit Python Show with interesting folks, some folks from Adafruit and folks from the community. So shout out to Paul, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. think that's it for housekeeping. Right? Yeah. So yeah, we're ready to talk about the projects. We're gonna leave it up to you folks if you'd like us to talk about this week's project or last week's project. We have options. So if you'd like us to talk about this one first, this was a really cool. They're both CircuitPython projects. This is a really fun portable speaker that you can trigger different sound effects. So we're thinking this would be really cool for a scooter or a bike. You can have all sorts of fun sound, and it uses Audio Mixer in CircuitPython. Or do you want the 11,000 LEDs, lots of LEDs, a replica of the connection machine from Thinking Machines?
I'm gonna
the
go ahead
Raspberry
and
Pi.
choose the Thinking Machine since we have a little bit of delay, so it'll take a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be here all day.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the Thinking Machine. This is collaboration with the Dragon, Mr. Koberg S, who really wanted to have one of these awesome little Thinking Machines on your desktop. So he wrote up a bunch of really cool little example demos. So what this is a Raspberry Pi case. So you can see all of the ports in the back here. You plug this into the wall and you have 8 of these Charlieplexed matrices that are creating all of the lovely animations there. So what we're displaying here is the it's the, what is it, the
audio
sound
visualizer.
There you go,
So
audio
this
visualizer.
Is using the USB microphone bop, bop, on the back of the Pi there to get really easy audio input, and it's taking that data and plotting it here on all the various LEDs.
Hello. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah, so it's all done in Python, and you can modify it and take a look at all the code that's out there.
Yes, so we're using the black LED acrylic to create the diffusion on there. You can see if I slide it back a little bit, you can see the matrices in the back there, and it does give it that lovely diffusion that creates the look of the connection machine. So these slide in and out like that. We use the CNC to cut all these out. And then on the back you have plenty of grills to provide some nice cooling for the Pi. You can have some on the bottom here because it can get kind of hot. Sure. And all of these are removable, so you can see on the inside here all of the wiring and the connections for everything that's going on in there. Pretty simple. The most challenging part of this is creating all of the connection wires, splitting all those off and creating multiple grounds and power for each of the matrices. Everything's put together with the female silicone jumper cables that just plug right into the header, make everything nice and simple and modular, so you can disassemble all this and nothing is like soldered together. Well, except the headers for the matrices.
Yep, the Learn Guide covers all of the steps and code, circuit diagram, all the good stuff for building your own step by step. I have this
yes,
as
that's
well.
What I'm
so what's cool about this project is the bottom is modular. So if folks can't get the Raspberry Pi, surely you can get the Raspberry Pi RP2040. This is that $5 chip that everybody knows about by now. It's readily available, and it's got lots of GPIO, and it's got enough ports for doing the whole LED thing. I'm trying to say the word. What is it? It's got 2 I2C buses. So this is what this is using, 2 I2C buses, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 8 of these Charlieplexed LEDs. So we'll jump into the Learn Guide, but if folks have any questions, we'll go through that. But I just remembered we're talking about the Pico. So the Pico only has one demo right now, which is written in CircuitPython, but you can use that demo code that Phil B wrote and write your own if you want to do some more crazier projects. But this demo is particularly written for the Raspberry Pi because it can do the audio stuff.
Since you're talking about the demo, let's go ahead and run through them. If you hold this up, I'll swap out to the Jurassic Park inspired animation chase one.
Sure. So if you got the Raspberry Pi, you're just going to get more animations because it was a little bit easier to do that. So this one's showing 2 rows that are alternating, and this is kind of what you've seen in the Jurassic Park original film.
I really like this one because of the way that every other 2 rows are going in each opposite direction. So it looks like a nice little rotating DNA strand. And then your standard, where's the other one? CPU load. Find that. So this is just based on what the Raspberry Pi processor is working on at the moment. So if we do like a sudo update, you'll see it all go crazy, which I'm not going to do.
It already is.
Yeah.
Let's do an update.
But of course, my favorite one is just that plain chaser one, and then the audio reactive one.
I like the audio reactive the best because it's interactive.
Yeah, let's go back to that one.
Cool. So if you get yourself a Raspberry Pi server, an Octoprint rig, like this would be really cool to have it next to your desk.
Yeah, it's definitely what I'm going to use this as. I'm going to repurpose it for the Octoprint rig on the new printer.
Yeah, I'd like to have it in the background, but
if you can cut more acrylic, I have enough parts to make another one.
Yeah,
so
I can cut more acrylic for sure.
Definitely do that. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and
jump
into the Learn Guide.
Okie dokie. So we got this video real
Real
quick.
quick, Rolls is asking, does a Raspberry Pi create a lot of lag on the visualizer? It looks like it's like a 2-second lag when you do the for the audio visualizer. So if I clap, you can see like 2 seconds later that'll do the activation. So yeah, there is a little bit of lag.
Okay. Did not know that. It seems pretty responsive though.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the chats. Okay. So yeah, so Anne and Lamar checked out the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and Lamar was standing right next to a it was a replica. Yeah.
It's a replica of the CM5. The connection machine had several versions of it. This was our favorite version because it's just this cubic looking thing, and it's just as big as a room. And
a little correction on that. The CM5 was the skinny one,
so
like
this is like CM2,
CM1, CM2 was the two versions that had the bigger cubed format.
And PT was really animate about like one day we're going to build this, and we built it in like 1 scale, 1/10 of a scale, or whatever the scale factor is.
Yeah, PT's a good
palm of your hand.
He's a good predictor of
future stuff.
Yeah.
Now anybody can have their own little connection machine on their desktop.
Definitely check out the guide. Phil B added a bunch of the verbiage in here and to explain why this is, without a doubt, the best looking computer of all time.
So
period.
cool.
No questions asked. Just
all of the
look at
parts
it.
are in stock. Like, forget the Raspberry Pi. We know that's not in stock, but the RP2040 is indeed in stock.
Wow.
It's $4, not $5.
I'm impressed.
But all the little things to make it kind of work is in stock. We got the black LED Acrylic and the various LED Charlieplexed Matrices.
And don't forget the driver.
Do
not forget the driver.
That's why they're separate, because you have the option to change the LED color.
When you click on it, I want to point out a thing.
This one?
Yeah, it will suggest, would you also like to add?
Right, so that's a cool tip.
Yeah, so most of the products do have that little suggestion on additional add-ons that you're going to need for it to actually function and look like what it does in the product page.
Yep, they're all connected through I2C, so you can daisy chain them together fairly simply.
And another thing to point out too, when you scroll down a little bit, on every product page you'll see what project they were used in to give you some ideas on what code you can use or other arrangements for the component.
Cool. Yes. All right. Any other stuff to? So yeah, pick the thing. If you have a Pi on hand, maybe you should go with a Pi because you get more demos.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tougher to find a Pi, and the only way I see this actually working is if you're using the Pi as a streaming server, or you're doing like Pi-hole, or you're doing the Octoprint setup. Otherwise, yeah, it's okay to just go with the Pico and just have a nice little animation in the background.
Cool. All right. Well, that's the overview page. Just gives you an idea of all the parts you'll need.
3D printing. This thing takes about 17 hours to print the front, about 20 hours to print the back, and I think about 3 hours to print the bottom. So it's split up into 3 individual pieces that are all screwed together, and then the frame screw onto the front, the bottom screws into the 2 front and back pieces, and the little frames all screw into the front as well.
Before printing this out, you'll want to do a little assessment. Can I fit this on the bed of my 3D printer, and do I have the right PLA filament? So we have a minimum print bed of 150 cubed. So as long as your 3D printer has a bed of around 150, you should be able to print this no problem.
It should be most printers, I think. The only some are like 140.
100,
I think that's like the Flash Forge, the
some
little
of the
ones.
smaller ones. All right, and then a lot of folks always ask what PLA this is. So we have it linked directly to the Amazon If they're out of stock, that's out of our control. But at least you know
Check on
directly
it real quick.
where
Are they
we
in
got
stock?
where we got this filament. It's called
Because-
Sparkly Glitter from Uri1.
Because this has become our default printing
Yeah,
material.
it's fantastic stuff. It seems to be always in stock. Great, no clogs, no jams.
And I like how it usually ships tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like next day.
Decently priced, and they have it in several different colors, so you can see they're all glittery style. And we just like this stuff. The gray is really good for these type of projects.
Yeah.
Glitter black, rather. Sorry, not gray, because they do have like a
They do have a
silvery
gray.
one,
Yeah.
which is cool too for other types of projects. So yes, filament.
Yes.
It seems to be in stock. Cool. Going back to the Learn Guide, there's some tips here on
You
doing
can download all the files there. You got the step file. You got the acrylic template you're gonna need to CNC or just to print out on the piece of paper.
Yeah, and then you can
score it, cut it out.
or use a jigsaw. However you'd like to cut your acrylic.
Okay.
The panels, you just need 4 of them. It needs to be a little bit precise, so that's what the template. Just print that out and then stick it onto your material.
Yeah, I did do everything. I did add a bunch of chamfers and fillets on the rails where the acrylic panel slides into to give you, you know, as much, wiggle room to get the acrylic plate to slide in there. But you do have to be as precise as you can for that. And then with the print settings, we have all listed before here. You are going to need support material, unfortunately, because of the way that the grills for the vents are and the mounting standoffs for all of this. I do have 45-degree angle cuts on a bunch of them, but just because of how they are pretty much in the air, they're like the top parts. You can kind of see it in the GIF there. I do have to add supports on that.
Okay.
And I have all the support settings for that all listed down below. And then I just included a picture of what your supports will look like. So don't be discouraged if you have like stringing and all these blobs everywhere. It cleans up beautifully. Okay. One of the tools that I wish that I had put in here was that little pink spatula that I think Cricut sells with their Cricut vinyl machines.
It's like a palette knife.
It's like a little palette knife, and I use that to scrape off all of the little the blobs, the zits. Yeah, and it cleans up so beautifully, and it's so satisfying to just like scrape away at everything. And yeah, that's a really good shot of what it looks like before and after.
Oh wow, yeah.
And it, as you can see, it's not leaving behind any like scratches or like scrapes from me sitting there.
Turn the traction off? Like what happened here?
So that one it's the CR3. The retraction on the Titan direct drive is not as good as the BodTech direct drive.
All right, so.
But it prints. I mean, I had to use every single printer that we had.
Yeah, don't be afraid to like sand this down. If you
this is why I
want a
posted.
Really smooth finish.
Yeah, this is why I posted the picture.
Like
No post processing, just cleanup, and this is what it'll look like.
Right.
And there's still more like strings there that you could see that I could go in there and like clean up even more.
Yeah, or here and stuff.
Yeah, but that's just to sort of not to.
Right. It looks like
it's to encourage
hairy mess, but it's okay. That's
underneath all that is beautiful.
Okay, wonderful. But yeah, these are some good handful of settings for your supports. Mm-hmm. Just so you know, this is all done in Cura. It's a free open slicing that supports just about all the printers out there that are open. So we recommend Cura.
I think saying that this is Cura, I think we need to start putting on there Cura the version though, because with Cura 5 the whole engine has changed. I might have to tweak the settings and make sure we get all the same printing profiles. How this one is set up. So this is before version 5.
Okay.
Which I know we're gonna have to
do
some testing
are these
with.
Supports auto-generated, or
these supports are
place them?
No, these are all auto-generated.
Cool.
So the 70% for the overhang angle, and that should give you not too many.
Some of the This will limit some of the supports
overhangs,
because you're telling it, hey, only look for things that have a 70-degree overhang. So that's smart.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
And then the acrylic panels. There's a nice little paragraph there on how to cut those up with the X-Acto blade. Be super careful.
Yep.
We did this with the CNC mill.
Yeah.
So it was
I
pretty
think
precise.
it would be way better with the laser cutter. We just don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, a big tip here would be to get them pre-cut for you from Taplastics. Taplastics.com.
Yeah, we need to put that
They
in
can
there.
do that, or Pinoco.com. That's a great service. It's just we don't link them because what happens if they're not there tomorrow? So that's probably why we haven't linked to them. But just know that you do have some services that will cut things to shape, namely Taplastics and Pinoco. A little bit, they'll have a service charge or whatever, but it's all on you if you want to do it that route. You'll get a precise cut, and you can get plenty of quantities.
Oh, and real quick, we're still on the 3D print page. Liz says that she's also had good luck with the Hatchbox glitter PLA.
Yeah,
so definitely check that one
stuff
out.
Yeah.
We
Cool.
are using the Hatchbox yellow PLA that came out so good. We'll talk about in the Soundbox.
Is
Yeah.
Cool. Any questions, folks? Can drop them in about the acrylic.
Yep.
I just realized that Pinoco, I don't think they offer black LED acrylic. This is a very special acrylic. And Taplastics, they have a different thickness of... Oh, okay. Just forget everything I said. Don't...
No Taplastics.
Unfortunately,
You're gonna
yeah.
have
They
to cut
have
this yourself.
It would not fit. That's another thing. Like the thickness of our black LED acrylic, the Adafruit stocks, is actually different than Taplastics. I just remembered.
Whoops.
So yeah, you're gonna have to cut it yourself.
And
Which is fine.
another comment from Deo20 saying this would be an amazing Pi to operate Control 1's Prusa 3D printer. Yes.
Yeah.
Makes an excellent
Accessory
auto print.
for your Raspberry Pi setup.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to assembly.
Okay.
The most complicated part is going to be the printing because it just takes so long. But this will probably be the second most complicated just because of how many headers and how many pins need to be soldered together. Make sure you have ventilation. I had like 2 fume extractor fans on because this is so much soldering. Not only are you looking the front, not only are you soldering the front,
how much pain and blood and sweat and tears.
So much, yeah. There's so many pins. What is it like? Each side has however many, and then double that, quadruple that, because then you have to solder the back
Show us your
of the.
Yeah. So if you want to make a real thinking machine, they're pretty close to a real thinking machine. Look at all the connections there. All that's Y splitted or whatever. You're soldering multiple wires together just to kind of simplify.
Oh, I'm just talking about soldering the
headers,
driver
right? Because
to the LED board
has to get soldered to the. Yeah, so this is going to be
This is going to take you a while to solder all of these. There's 8 of these panels, so
however,
there's
the
16,
circuit diagram.
It's like soldering 16 boards, and then how many each individual pins times that times 2, and then times 2 again because you got to do the front and the back.
You've just discouraged everyone, haven't you?
It's put on some music, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, just saying
Put
that's
on your
very
headphones.
challenging. Dragons are here. You're gonna want to look at this note, right? Because each one of these has a different address. Well, not each one.
We'll
but they
talk
have
about
different
that
addresses.
in the next
so you can see here in the circuit diagram, you'll want to reference the I2C bus addresses here for each of the matrices.
This is in the next part. I actually show what because these are in the back. You have to bridge some connections to address each
I
panel.
would say if you have like a permaproto, try to use the power and ground rails as a bus. That way you're not having to do a bunch of sharing.
I mean,
I would recommend that 'cause that's a simple way to kind of share power and ground across a bunch of boards because you don't have that many power and grounds on the Pi itself. So that's one tip that you can break away from the our Learn guide because you don't use a bus. But if you know what you're doing, you're probably
there's enough room to fit a bus in there. So
yeah, there's totally enough room to fit. But you could even do a screw block terminal bus and not even have to solder.
And I forgot to mention there are mounts on the inside to attach an additional frame, like a sensor or a fan is probably what people want to attach to there. So you do have that additional mounting option.
Cool. But in any manner, if you want to print this out and have it as a reference sheet,
I had to have it on my phone to reference.
That's great. Yeah, that's a good tip too.
And then here's the phone.
And then here's the Raspberry Pi Pico, fairly similar. All the address buses are about the same, but just pick one and you'll know what to do. Cool.
Again, we're going with the silicone-coated female-to-female jumper cables, just so we can easily plug into the male headers on both the matrices and the Pico or the Raspberry Pi. They're already on there.
Okay.
And what you want to do here, like the Philby's explanation of you're twisting 4 of the same size wires, and the 5th one on the other opposite side is all soldered together and then protected with some of the heat shrink. Sure, all that. So you're gonna make what? So many freaking cables too. 40 half wires total.
Oh wow.
So yeah, again, this one is once you're done with that side of the quest, then there's the other quest of building all the wires for it, which is just as difficult or time consuming.
It's just time consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those 2 parts right there are going to be the most, and the printing.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to be the most time consuming part. It'll take about 2 days to make this thing when it's all said and done.
Okay.
So the frames for all the matrices screw into the front with 2 M25 by 12 mm long screws.
Yeah, that's cool. This is a good way to elevate and precisely position the matrices exactly where they need to be.
How far away they are from the acrylic.
The diffusion is dependent on where they are relative to the acrylic.
A little bit to figure out.
But it's been figured
distance.
out, so that's good. So you're going to print these little frames, and then you're going to use M25 screws to attach them. Recommend metal screws, not the plastic ones, because you need to bite into the...
No plastic screws for this.
Yeah, so please use metal screws. Crap, I just realized some of the hardware isn't listed in the front page.
I think I put the parts to all the Albany links to all of the size. Really? Oh yeah, I have that all in there.
Okay, cool. So
even on the next project, yeah.
You can get it from McMaster-Carr too if they're more like worldwide or whatever.
Yeah, the Albany's pretty fast, and I like how they have their 100 packs.
It's just that they're in the States, and you don't want to be in Europe. McMaster-Carr is like global.
Yeah,
okay. They're like the number one fastener place. But yeah, you want some metal screws. They're 12 length. 12 millimeters in length. It's all listed here, and then these are 8 millimeters in length.
And then these are, it doesn't matter what side you mounted them on. You can kind of see in the picture there.
Symmetric?
I had to, yeah, they're symmetric.
Oh,
so
cool.
they have like some cutaways that are required for the headers.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see how some of the standoffs have some parts cut off
here. Yeah.
And that's to make room for the header.
Right.
Header pin.
Cool. So they just snap into these little pegs.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I wanted to have them screw in, but once you look at there's no way. There's no mounting holes for that.
When the back bracket's in front, like your mounting hole
it.
Is now blocked, so you won't be able to take it out. You'd have to do this anyway. It's a good method here to have these pegs, because then you can still pop them out if you need to.
And then this is what we're talking about, soldering the address pads for this. If you click on one of those to enlarge, you can see how these are laid out. It's going to go from 74. Yeah, I'm sorry, 74, 75, 76, 77.
Okay.
And they go in that row, and they're reversed when you actually put it in.
Yeah. This is upside down, I think. So you might want to do a 180
Oh, gotcha. Well, I think I did it that way because that's what you're looking at, and then when you actually mount it, it's the reverse side.
Yeah. Okay. Just be aware of your orientation.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. But it's easy enough to bridge these jumpers. And if you want to take them out, you can use some, what is it called? Wick. Some solder wick to remove the jumper if you ever need to.
Actually, you can just solder it, and it'll probably just split apart because it has a tendency to just not want to unify.
Right. Okay.
So
it's easier to take them off.
It's even easier than that.
Well, cool. All right.
And there's a layout for
Address
all
pads.
8 of those. Make sure that you have your layout all set up before mounting all of these.
Yeah, good checkpoint here is to like, okay, everything looks good.
Oh, and I do have the headers trimmed here. You don't need to. There's enough room on the bottom, so you don't. Because again, that's another time-consuming thing. Oh my God, yes. Yeah. So you don't need to do that.
Okay, fair.
I updated the frame so you wouldn't need to.
Fair.
And then just make sure that you have all the layouts arranged properly, and then you can start press fitting all these into place one by one, making sure that it's going in order. And then you can slide your acrylic sheet right over. From here, start plugging in all the jumpers and mount your Pi. If you're using a Raspberry Pi, you are going to need this right angle USB-C connector.
Yeah.
Because of the way that the power gets fed in.
Sort of you could remix this whole bottom if y'all wanted to have these ports here closer to the wall. Any particular reason why? You wanted it in the middle?
So
Just
if I
aesthetics?
rotate it this way, I don't...
No. If you just push this over all the way and then made some holes there, that would work, I guess. Oh no, it would crash into this.
Yeah, I won't have the other standoff, but I guess I could add one here. I mean...
Y'all would have to really tweak it, but it seemed like this is the easiest way to have... Compromising when you're designing is like, what do I want to have access to? You really want to have access to the USB port. You're going to have this plugged into the wall, so that's why we made the executive decision to just have this right-angled USB-C.
My use case is for an Octopi rig, so you can see here that the HDMI ports will be totally in the way. So I SSH into it.
You made it so you can completely redesign this piece. A lot of the times we'll see people just redesign one piece of our project, and that's a big tip for folks. Like when you're designing, make sure like the main piece that has the main motherboard, Pi, microcontroller, make sure that is modular. And that is a really good thing because I see folks wanting to use, you know, a different type of pie. What are the orange skin, onion skin, and the banana pies and all that sort of stuff? So you can do it. You need to fashion your own bottom.
Or just the framing, actually, like we did for the Pico.
Right. So and what's cool about the Pico one, which we will get to it, it's the exact same mounting holes as the.
It's just an additional frame.
Adapter, yeah.
The frame or the pie is mounted with the M25 8mm long screws.
Yeah.
So and here's what the Pi version, or the Pico version looks like.
So those are the exact same mounting holes for the Pi, but just this little extra adapter fits, adapts it, and gives you that USB-C port. But yeah, you can redesign this piece if you want more access to the ports. But just be aware that these four corners might need to be shuffled a little bit. But you have complete access to that in Fusion or whatever app you want to use.
And that is
That's
pretty much
the
it.
gist of it, yeah. Yeah, it's just a very time-consuming thing. You just
it's
have to
fun
really
though. Like it's definitely challenging getting all everything soldered up in the correct order, and then building all of the wires. It makes you wish that we carried like some sort of single ground wire that split it off into like 5 different other grounds, because there's a couple of boards like that. Like the RP2040 where we only have one ground. It's like I need to hook up buttons and switches
but plenty of room inside the case for fans, more sensors. And you could stack several Pis if you wanted to in there, I suppose.
You definitely could. Yeah, you're right.
So,
whoa.
Yeah, what are your ideas, folks? Let us know.
Checking out the comments.
It's pretty light too. It doesn't weigh much.
Redo Strike saying, always scary soldering those parts together. Yes, it was definitely scary.
The backpack and the driver?
Yeah, because it's like, is this the correct way? Is it like are my mounting clearances gonna work?
Cool.
All right, cool.
Cool.
All the files available to download. Check out the video and all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into this week's project.
All right, this was last week. Now let's jump into this week.
All right, so there was, I think it was on...
Yeah, some premise to the project? Or
no, I think it was posted on April Fool's, so Lamar thought this was a joke.
Yeah.
From Segway.
So Segway thought it would be cool if like kids could like make their e-bike sound like they have an engine, like a Harley or a V12 or V8 engine.
This is actually
this is a real product for Segways. They're like advertising it for the Segways, and it gives you an engine sound. And
now this sounds silly, unless you actually take walks and you're around your neighborhood and notice that all the kids
useful, right?
are on scooters.
You can't hear them. It's silent. You can't.
And that happened to us. I'm walking my dog.
Okay.
I'm pushing my kid in a stroller, and this daddy and daughter come, right behind us. You can't do that when you have a dog. The dog's gonna jump on you, like jump kick you. Yeah, no bell.
Sound alert.
You can't sneak up on someone who has, they're pushing their kid. They have their dog. Their dog is gonna jump kick your ass off that scooter. So having audible alerts that there's somebody coming up is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
When we back up in our car makes a noise, goes
Yeah,
whoa, 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 whoa.
It legally has
I mean, you hear all the UPS trucks when they're backing up, they have
Yeah,
beeping
they have
noises.
beeping noises.
So
we thought that'd be a useful thing, although it's a silly kind of concept to make your electric vehicle sound like it's a gas-powered one. Like, that's hilarious, right?
I know.
But you don't have to use an engine. You can have a spaceship, you know, a sound effect.
You have the Jetsons,
right?
Little whirling sound.
So this is a real product. You can get it for $150, and we're like, well, we can do this with some, you know, a cheap CircuitPython microcontroller and a speaker and a really good high-quality amp. So we came up with this thing. You want to turn it on and demo it for me?
Oh yeah. So that's a box that contains a 20 millimeter speaker. Hold on, let me snap this.
Yeah.
So nice little box that self-contains a 20 millimeter speaker inside. You got the 40 millimeter speaker, 3 arcade buttons, and your on and off latch. And of course, all CircuitPython powered. So the thing that Lamar wanted to demonstrate here is the audio looping capabilities of CircuitPython. So mixing, audio looping. Mixing and looping. So it's playing a sound effect of the engine that is idle, but if you get up close to someone, if they still didn't hear you, yeah, so definitely nice way to alert someone that you're coming up with an air horn.
Or whatever, maybe a laser bolt.
Yeah.
So whatever you like. So we figured 3 buttons was okay. Arcade buttons are so fun to press.
Yeah, one of the
so
funny
that's why we went
things
with our arcade button.
Yeah, one of the funny things with that Segway video, you have these tiny little buttons, and the dude has like this, you know, the gloves on. It's like, how do you?
So you can mount this in different ways. The reason why it's this size is because when you're working with arcade buttons, unfortunately, you have giant things to accommodate.
You can actually show how.
Go ahead. This is you. This is all you. I didn't sign anything.
Yeah, so you can see there just to make the quick connects, so you can easily again be modular, because you know, it's kind of a thing.
I want to swap out my colors.
Exactly, or I need to swap out a board that isn't available. So you can see there the height is just big enough to barely fit everything in there with just a little bit of wiggle room.
There's a battery. There's a 2200 milliamp LiPo battery. It's the strong one, so it's not like soft or anything. It's a nice rigid one.
But I did make it soft. I added a
NinjaFlex
bumper.
A little NinjaFlex bumper. But you could use a different battery, whatever will fit in there. And the Feather RP2040 is the hero board for this. It's running CircuitPython, and it has USB charging for the battery, so you can charge the battery over USB. As soon as you plug in to USB, you have access to the CircuitPython USB drive. It's like a flash drive, so you can just drag and drop the WAV files, or you can remix it to do MP3, because we have MP3 functionality as well. We went with waves just because they're kind of easier and a little bit higher quality. So we went with WAV files, and the other thing here is that it's using an amplifier that's doing high quality audio over I2S.
I think this is the first project that we've used it.
This is the first project we've done I2S audio, and Lamar really wanted to showcase high quality audio, audio mixing, audio looping, and all in CircuitPython with drag and drop capability. Super awesome. Really good quality too.
This is the spatula I was talking about.
Yep. Cool.
How it's nice and flat. You can go in there and like scrub all of the zits off. But I like the plastic part here to go in there and pry things off. So I can show you
So you got a speaker grill going on there.
Speaker grill going on.
These speakers are great. They're 40 millimeter in diameter, and I believe they're about 3 watts.
Yes.
Maybe more. But they
sounds louder than 3 watts.
They sound really loud, and they're really cool. The case itself really helps with amplifying the audio, so it's a really good acoustic case.
Yeah, some really neat designs that went into even holding in the case. So there is a taper that is going on the cutout for this, so it gets smaller, so the front is able to fit in there. But as it goes deeper down in there, it is not allowed to because of the taper on there, which gives you room to mount or press fit the speaker grill on there. And then on the case, there's this nice little stopper right here. So when it slides in, it holds it into place like really that. Cool. So a very nice way to mount a speaker without having any something that's grabbing onto it. It's just pretty much exactly, yeah. So first time that we've done a speaker mount in this way. And then the same thing with the grill too. And yeah, you have nice little cushions on here that keep it from making that vibration noise. So nice little way to to incorporate this into anything that needs the 40 millimeter or any speaker mounted in that way.
Yeah.
What else can we talk about? I guess jump into the Learn Guide.
Okay. So we'll head over to the
And then
Learn
real quick,
Guide.
comment from Hem on Discord saying, yeah, accelerometer would be an awesome addition. Automatic reverses and braking noises. Yes, Lamar did want that, but for time's sake.
Yeah, we wanted to keep it really simple.
She omitted it and said, yeah, that's fine. Just do it without. It could definitely be something that could be added on there. There is room for additional brackets to be mounted on the inside.
Yep. Okay, so the Learn Guide, all of the parts are pretty much in stock, which is great. So you got the Feather RP2040, it's the hero of it. That one's in stock, and then the amplifier is the Max.
Not
98,
just
30, 35,
not just
357A, and it's the I2C. It's a mono amp, but it works out for this one. You really don't need two speakers.
Yeah.
One is enough. It is 4 ohms, 3 watts, this speaker here. It's a pretty nice one. And the arcade buttons, we have a series of arcade buttons, but a 30 millimeter is kind of your standard size for an arcade button.
Where did you get these from? Because people are going to want to. I love these colors.
Yeah, I got these from Amazon. Swana. Swana is the manufacturer of these type of buttons. They're like the Street Fighter arcade buttons. Y'all can get those from wherever, but yeah, they have various colors, greens and blues and all sorts. But the 30 millimeter is what you want to get. And yeah, I like these too because they have simple colors. We don't stock them, but we do stock these nice ones that are modular. You can change out the caps and stuff. We have them in different colors, I believe, as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. This would work.
Yeah. This one has a built-in LED. You don't really need the LED. We're not using LEDs in this one.
No.
But yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice if you're doing some night riding, but then again, like some of the scooters have like LEDs built into them now.
Mm-hmm. They do, for sure. But that's the main products that you'll need. For the on-off, we have this on-off latching button. We have a couple of those. It just looks better than a toggle switch, in our opinion, so that's why we went with this one. And that's what we had on hand. We're not using the LED, but you have the LED as an option.
Absolutely can.
Yeah, we have several of those.
Ooh.
You can always use one of the metal ones if you want.
Oh, we don't have any square ones, huh? We need to pick some of those up just so we have them on hand.
Yeah, there's triangle ones too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. The triangle one probably would have fit better with the shape.
Yeah.
It's almost a triangle.
Yeah. But you'll be wary of them because some of them have really long profiles.
Yeah.
That might affect the case.
I'm looking at that switch on the bottom going, like, never mind.
Yeah. And these are 16 millimeters, so not 30. So you'll want to be aware of that. Okay. So we had a little chat about buttons. All the parts are pretty much in stock. You got the speaker, or sorry, the battery.
Yep.
Is rechargeable over USB with any Feather.
Even the Ninja Flex filament there for building out the little bumper for the cylindrical battery.
Yeah. Cool.
And then, like what we're saying here, here's the link to where you can get the M3 screws. You're going to need 4 of the M3 by 8 millimeter long, 6 of the 2.5 by 6 millimeter long, and 1 M3 threaded nut.
Yeah, metal screws, please. Cool. Circuit diagram shows all the buttons are wiring up to some of the digital pins. To get I2S, we're using the RX and TX, right? And one of the digital pins as well. And then voltage and ground. So that is how it's working. Did you use a screw block terminal for this thing?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool.
Didn't really need to since I have a JST connection, male and female, cool, on each end of the speaker. You are absolutely going to need that because of the way you need to assemble the case.
Okay.
And that's really the top reason why we make everything modular for assembly.
Okay, with any CircuitPython board, you want to make sure you have the latest version of CircuitPython, as the dev team does a great job of pushing out updates to CircuitPython. So this just walks you through installing CircuitPython on the RP2040 Feather. When it comes to the code, you can just download the project bundle, which includes the WAV files and all the code and libraries ready to go. So you can just drag and drop that whole folder into your USB CircuitPython drive. A couple comments here. So this was written by John Park and Todd. Toddbot. They both collaborated on this. This is actually just a little bit of a remix of John and Todd's breakbeat breadboard project. So the only difference here is that we're using the I2S audio. So here you can see audio equals audio bus IO. I2S out, and then we are signaling these pins. So if you're using a different board, different microcontroller, you want to update the pins here for doing TRX or TXRX and the digital pin. Right here is the list of WAV files, so you can add these. We put it, little comments here. So the engine sound effect is the fourth one in the list. That's important. Down in the loop, we'll show you why you want to be wary of the fourth list. The fourth audio in this list is what is being looped, so that's why we label it as such. And then the keypad library is being used to do event-based keys, so that it's really, really, really nice and responsive. So you can do like rapid. You could literally do like John and Todd did do a musical project with this, where you're literally triggering, and if there's no latency, so it's really, really fast. So that's why we're using the keypad library. But in the loop, you'll see that mixer voice 3 level 1. This is what's making the looping sound. So if you wanted to change the order of your WAV file, like where it is in the list, you just want to update this. You remember 0 is a number, so this is really the fourth one. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. 3 is actually the fourth one in the list. But that's really all you need to know. We didn't have to mess around with any of this stuff because all this is handling the event for when the button is pressed or not. But yeah, that's basically it. It's super easy to modify and remix it. The audio mixer here is what's kind of establishing the mixing of the WAV files together. You'll just want to be aware of the sample rate of your WAV file. So you just want to make sure it's 2200 kilorates. I like to use Apple Music to do the Apple Music app has a nice WAV converter with all the settings. You want to make it mono, not stereo. And if you try to just play any WAV file, the MU editor in the serial console will actually tell you, hey, this isn't the right bit rate for your WAV. So you'll just want to be aware of that. But because this is a project bundle, you don't have to worry about that because the audio files are ready to go. So you can just get it running right away.
Speaking of audio files, yes, super easy to swap out. We have Andy Calloway suggesting some TARDIS sounds, and Redo Strike suggesting some Star Wars sounds. So
we really wanted to do spacey stuff, but we really ran out of time. We don't have like the ability to kind of share and distribute copywritten sound effects. So we're not able to do that, but we know folks can rip their own audio from YouTube and wherever. So we encourage you to do that, but we just couldn't share. The files that we're using are all from freesound.org, and that way it's a royalty-free thing. We don't get in trouble for distributing them.
Yeah, that sounds so cool.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to, I think, the assembly.
Oh, just real quick. This is what your USB drive looks like when you plug in your Feather RP2040. You got your code, your library. You're only using the bus device library, and the audio libraries are all built into the board. And then your wave folder has all your waves.
Oh, cool.
So just make sure the name of the file is also the name of the file in the code.
That's what I was about to say. Just if you don't want to mess with the code, just name it the exact same thing.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Idle is the engine sound effect because it's idle. Cool.
All right, moving on to 3D printing. Unfortunately, this is another long print. I believe it takes about 9 hours to print just the button side case. I have a listing here of all of the settings you're going to need to print. Pretty standard, except for the supports, just angle 45 degrees or 40 degrees.
It's important to note, I don't know how... So to attach this to a bike frame, you're going to want to measure your bike frame and then see
modify
if our
the
clip
bracket
will fit.
Yeah. We have
do you
several.
Off the top of your head know what the diameter
So this
is?
one's 24 millimeters. I should link to the one that Eva made, the bike project. What was the Clue? I made, I think, 3 different bracket sizes, and it's the same design. So I'll link that in there. But we have like a 30 millimeter one. We have 24 and some other
this
size.
could be a good opportunity for folks to make their own. Like I could see them making like a Velcro holes. Zip
That's
tie
what I
holes.
should have done.
That way you can whatever.
But it was just a lot more easier. Just punch holes into the
existing
back
bracket
lid, and then
Okay. I don't see them here. Oh, you can go over.
Oh, no, there's one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
just to go over the design and some sorry.
Yeah, so the M25 screws go through here and then just attach to the bracket here, and then we have a what is it?
Yeah, that's a cap nut.
Cavity for the
Yeah, for a hex
M3.
nut.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this, even though it sounds like it's breaking.
Yeah, you might want to use PET G or something.
I would use
for
PET
this.
G. I did. So this is 1.5 millimeters. If I make it any thicker, it breaks right away. So this gives it just enough flexibility.
To open in, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
when you're putting it over the
frame.
the frame, and it only does that noise like when it's brand
That's
new. Yeah, after that, it's nice and sturdy. We were going over bumps, and it holds on good.
Cool.
And yeah,
You have another one here too. So
I suggest doing two.
yeah.
So add another bracket on there as well. And the only reason I didn't show it was because it goes underneath the feather. So before mounting the feather, you would have to attach the brackets. But for showing assembly, I can't have this chilling on there like that.
So if you had a Pico and you wanted to use it with a Pico RP2040, you would want to remix this whole piece because these are mounting holes for a feather. So what's cool is that you can use any feather. So if you want Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, you can add that feather here. But these holes are particularly for the feather. And you would just remix this piece if you wanted the Pico RP2040. Or a Teensy or an Arduino Nano Micro Pro
There you
Mini
go.
Plus.
All right, moving on to Ninja Flex bumper. We're using the
We're gonna go
95A
overtime, sorry.
filament Cheetah 230. I see for the
I'm just now realizing time is
for the
flying. You don't
for the
really need
heat.
this, but you have it because
it's nice because the way that it is mounted in the case, there's wiring and there's a board that it's sitting right on top of, so it's nice to have some sort of protection on there.
Cool. Some more support settings.
Support settings for
The case.
the case, yeah.
Okay.
All right, moving on to assembly.
Yeah, what would you do first?
You have to do the
Board
brackets
wiring?
for unfortunately, because then you can't get to them after you mount the feather, especially.
Right. I gotcha.
That's right on the bottom of that, and it's just for the placement of the bracket. So it's steady and is level when you're attaching it to the bracket.
A lot of wire sharing going on this week.
Yeah, another one of these one ground splitting off into
ground to
four different ones.
So these are quick connects for arcades. They have these spade connector bits that just press fit into the terminals of the arcade buttons. So these are really nice. The other end has like a JST XH connector. You just chop this off and add this to it. Cool.
Mounted with M2.5 by 6 millimeter long screws for both the boards there.
The amplifier has a bit of this ribbon gable. Kind of keeps the wires bundled together, so it looks neat.
Definitely want to have all that nice and bundled, especially since, as you see, later on, the wires are going to just go all over the place.
Yes, they are. So we're going to run through this, I guess, right? The wires go through. They connect right into the thing.
The lid slides right into the built-in rails onto the main button case.
That's cool how that works.
You can assemble your bumper into the cylindrical battery, and it mounts right on top of the board. Plug in your push button, and just neatly bundle all the wires on the inside.
I'd recommend shortening them, but then you don't have slack. So.
Yeah, that is the
Gosh.
Yep, can't do that.
Wiring.
And then soldering on the JST male on the speaker side and the female on the terminal block on the amplifier. Those connect together, press fits into the little speaker grill cavity like I showed earlier. Grill press fits right on top. And then you just attach that with an M3 screw onto the bracket and the cap nut.
Cool.
That's pretty much it.
Yay.
Nice little simple way to have some nice little alerts when you're driving around in your silent mobile vehicle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this could be great for accessibility projects as well. Maybe you want to add this to a wheelchair or something.
Why? Yeah, I mean, this could be for
a prop vehicle.
Or like you were saying, accessibility, like it talks for you, or in a hospital setting where you can mount this to the bed and you can help, water,
Traffic lights.
Traffic lights, yeah. And this is pretty much the smallest that I could get it. with modularity of
Yeah,
having the 30mm arcade buttons. But yeah, nice little portable speaker on the go, easy to program because you can easily
Good
pop
jump
out.
off point for folks, I think.
Yeah, super easy to get in there to reprogram the USB and charge the battery. It's all just through USB-C. So yeah, nice little way to have a portable sound machine.
All right, well, that is this week's project. We will do...
And that's it.
Yeah, I'm not going to do any prototype. Or
No, we're done.
We're done, sorry folks.
We will do that next
Too
time.
many projects.
Yeah. Even next week, it's going to be like, oh no.
Too many projects. We'll do
well, they're really cool
community
projects.
makes, but that's it. We're gonna bounce after the time lapse. So this week's time lapse, let's do
I
that.
thought we were going to
Community
bounce
makes.
now.
No, we can do a time lapse.
Okay.
Talk
So
about Khonshu.
this week, we are serving Khonshu.
No, we're not. We do not serve Khonshu. Khonshu's bad.
Yeah, so one of the
Maybe.
comments was,
We don't
why does this look different than it was printed?
Yeah, this is
because
cool.
I wanted to show what it looks like when it's printed. Otherwise, if I show you how I actually printed, you would
wouldn't
see
see
nothing
it.
because
see a
you would just see a block of support. So
Yeah,
that's one of the main reasons I did that.
Yeah, so cool technique is to split Khonshu in half and print double halves and then glue it together. You don't have to do that.
It doesn't look good.
But yeah, this is the marble PLA filament, which looks really good for stand shoes. So definitely check out that marble filament. Just type in marble PLA in Amazon or wherever, and
Look at the detail.
Yeah, it's pretty
Look
good.
at this guy. It's so detailed.
I thought it'd be cool
Focus,
to like
but-
make a cavity and like put like a
Oh.
strip of bacon inside there.
Where did we see that?
I don't know, but that'd be funny to have like a bacon inner core and you can eat it.
Uh-huh.
It's like you're eating a mummy. But yeah, great
There's
tip
one.
for
This was
avoiding any supports, right? This is great. So what's up with the layer lines? They look really good.
Oh,
here.
it's I mean, when you glue it, you would definitely see the split down the middle.
Sure.
I mean, look at that. Again, this was just so you could actually
Right.
see something while it's
Yeah.
time lapse, and instead of just a block printing.
Let me pull up the Thingiverse page by Hickory Hill.
Hickory Hill has already designed. I forgot the alligator lady's name. Amit.
Ament?
Yeah. So that one is now up.
Yeah, look at the weathering on this. Looks fantastic.
Yeah. Glad you pulled it up. Forgot about that. Look how good it looks when you weather
It
it.
has a couple of makes too. So again,
Oh,
this is from
wow,
Hickory
yeah.
Hill on Thingiverse, the free download from Moonlight. Okay, so this is from this Disney Plus TV show that's fairly new. It's called Moon Knight. This is from episode 3. It was sculpted. We're not sure any other details like of how they
Yeah, I
sculpted
wish
it or whatever, but
She listed it.
that's fine.
It looks
Here
really
are
good.
some makes. A lot of people are making it.
Wow.
Resin,
Ooh.
golds.
Ah,
People
pencil
like
holder.
Khonshu.
It's a cool design. Oh, glow in the dark. Dang it.
Look at this one. This is my favorite one. Look at that. This is Rust-Oleum
Yeah.
paint.
I want
so,
to try this.
Yeah. I always like looking at people's makes because then you can like find some tips. Like, how did you post
That looks
process?
so good.
So this is a major thing. Painted it with Australian multicolored textured paint in desert bisque flavor. It looks
Wow.
amazing. Yeah. I don't think they sanded it. They just spray painted it.
Yeah,
which
that
is
looks so
great.
freaking good.
Yeah. Cool tip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Khonshu.
I wonder if that's what they did on the movie set.
Right? They just print it and then just spray it with Rust-Oleum. It looks just like their countertop. That's so funny.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Or is that like the
Blinds
overspray?
Oh my god. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. But anyway, shout out to
Hickory, which
Hill.
look at the designs. The Amit one looks just
on the
as good.
profile?
Yeah.
Hickory Hill. 2 designs.
Look at Amit.
Oh wow.
Oh, I like the cracks and all that.
Yeah, looks fantastic.
Huh.
Alligator head. Emits Shunti from episode. Oh, we haven't seen. Did we?
That was last week's.
Okay.
Oh yeah, new
We're caught
episode
up.
came out today.
Today, yeah.
We'll see who the hippo lady is
Looks
today.
like it's split in half.
Yeah, so they try to minimize how many supports are going on, but again, I didn't want to glue anything.
No. This is a good tip when you have 2 printers. You can print both at the same time.
But do you have both of the same filament colors?
You've raised an interesting dilemma. All right, folks, that's this week's Community Makes. Check it out. We'll have to catch up on some of the other makes next week after we have run out of time.
Yay.
We're going to host Show and Tell this week, so we hope to see you there. We'll drop in a
stop
link
by.
to the StreamYard. So we'll be doing that. And then Lamar and Phil will be doing Ask Engineer tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Exciting.
Yeah. John Park will return next week. He's going to be out tomorrow. And then Foamy Guy, I believe, is still doing this week. Every Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Time, or 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, make sure to catch up Foamy Guy on his personal YouTube, too. He's always streaming. So
Yeah,
definitely a good time to watch.
Cool. Well, don't forget, cubes. Cubes are fun. That's all I got. I don't have any other special stuff. Thank you, everybody, for supporting Adafruit. We very thankful everybody's able to help out. Good luck on all your maker endeavors.
Until
See
then.
you tonight. Till then, lightning bolts. Make a great day.
See you next week, or
Bye, folks.
later night.
Yeah. Adios.